In this episode, we start with defense in depth, which is one of the most useful ways to think about security when you are new to the field. The idea is simple. You do not want the safety of an entire system to depend on one control working perfectly every time. One password can be stolen. One firewall rule can be wrong. One employee can click a bad link. One backup can fail when it is needed most. Defense in depth means you build several layers of protection so that if one layer fails, another layer can still slow the problem down, expose it, limit the damage, or help you recover. You are not trying to create perfect security, because perfect security does not exist. You are trying to create a safer environment where one mistake does not automatically become a major incident. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at Cyber.Me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. Think about your own life for a moment. You probably do not protect something important with only one habit or one object. Your home may have a locked door, but you may also have outside lighting, a phone nearby, a smoke alarm, insurance, neighbors who notice strange activity, and a habit of checking that windows are closed. None of those things solves every possible problem by itself. Together, they create layers. Cybersecurity works the same way. A company may use passwords, multifactor authentication, MFA, endpoint protection, network segmentation, monitoring, backups, security awareness training, and written procedures. Each one handles a different part of the risk. The strength comes from the combination. If one layer misses something, the next layer may still make the situation less harmful. You will see defense in depth across people, process, and technology. That matters because security is not just a technical problem. People need to know how to recognize suspicious activity and report it. Processes need to guide how access is approved, how systems are changed, how incidents are handled, and how recovery is performed. Technology helps enforce rules, block threats, detect unusual behavior, and protect data. If you only focus on tools, you may miss the human and process weaknesses that cause many real incidents. If you only focus on training, you may leave people without technical support when something goes wrong. If you only focus on paperwork, you may have good intentions without practical protection. Defense in depth works best when all three areas support each other. Preventive controls are the layers that try to stop something bad before it succeeds. MFA is a good example because it makes a stolen password less useful by requiring another proof of identity. Access control is another example because it limits what a person or system can reach. A firewall may block unwanted network traffic before it reaches a protected system. Secure configuration can remove unnecessary services, weak settings, or open access that attackers might use. These controls matter because preventing a problem is usually easier than cleaning it up later. At the same time, you should never assume prevention will catch everything. A user might approve a bad sign-in request. A rule might be misconfigured. A new attack might not be recognized yet. That is why the next layers matter. Detective controls help you notice when something suspicious or harmful may already be happening. Logs, alerts, monitoring systems, file integrity checks, and security reviews all fit this idea. Without detection, an attacker may have time to explore, steal data, change settings, or cause damage before anyone realizes there is a problem. Detection gives you visibility. It helps answer questions like who signed in, what system was accessed, what changed, and whether the activity looks normal. You do not need to know every monitoring tool to understand the concept. The point is that security teams need evidence. If a door is forced open, you want an alarm or camera. If an account is misused, you want logs and alerts that help show what happened. Corrective controls help you respond after something has gone wrong. That can include restoring from backups, disabling a compromised account, removing malware, applying a patch, rebuilding a system, or changing a risky setting. These controls may sound less exciting than stopping an attack at the beginning, but they are just as important. A realistic security program accepts that some incidents will happen. When they do, the organization needs a way to reduce damage and return to normal operations. Backups are one of the clearest corrective controls because they can help restore data after ransomware, accidental deletion, hardware failure, or a bad update. But a backup only helps if it is protected, current enough, and tested. A backup that cannot be restored is not a strong layer. Endpoint protection is a layer you will hear about often because endpoints are where a lot of work happens. An endpoint can be a laptop, desktop, server, phone, or other device that connects to an organization's systems. Endpoint protection may look for malware, suspicious behavior, risky files, or signs that an attacker is trying to take control. That is useful, but you should not imagine endpoint protection as an invisible shield that makes everything safe. A device can be missing updates. A user can be tricked. A malicious file can look harmless at first. Defense in depth means endpoint protection should work with other layers, such as patching, least privilege, MFA, monitoring, and user training. If the endpoint layer misses a threat, another layer may still detect or contain it. Segmentation is a powerful layer because it limits how far a problem can spread. In a poorly segmented environment, many systems can communicate with each other too freely. If an attacker compromises one device, that attacker may be able to move around and reach systems that should have been separated. Segmentation creates boundaries based on purpose, sensitivity, or risk. A guest wireless network should not have the same reach as an internal administrative network. A public-facing web server should not have unlimited access to sensitive payroll data. A regular user workstation should not be able to connect freely to every critical server. You can think of segmentation as placing interior doors inside a building. Even if someone gets through one door, they still cannot move everywhere without restriction. Monitoring and logging strengthen defense in depth because they help you understand whether your other layers are working. If MFA blocks a strange sign-in attempt, a record of that attempt can help show that someone may be targeting the account. If a firewall blocks traffic, logs may show whether the traffic was random noise or part of a larger pattern. If an administrator changes an important setting, audit records can show when the change happened and which account made it. This kind of evidence matters during investigations and reviews. It also helps improve security over time. When you can see what is happening, you can make better decisions. When you cannot see what is happening, you are forced to guess, and guessing is a weak place to be in security. Backups deserve special attention because they are often the layer that helps you recover when prevention and detection were not enough. You may have strong access controls, good endpoint protection, and careful monitoring, but an incident can still damage data or systems. Ransomware may encrypt important files. A user may delete something important by mistake. A software update may break a system. A cloud setting may expose or damage information. Backups give you a way back, but only if they are managed carefully. You need backups that are separated from the systems they protect, so the same attack does not destroy both the original data and the backup copy. You also need to know that recovery actually works. A recovery plan should not be a hopeful idea. It should be something the organization has tested. Defense in depth also protects you from ordinary mistakes, not just attackers. That is a big part of why it matters. Many security problems begin with normal human behavior. Someone grants too much access because it is faster. Someone skips a review because the request seems routine. Someone opens an attachment because it looks familiar. Someone changes a setting and does not realize it exposes data. Layers help catch those moments before they become worse. Least privilege limits the damage from excessive access. Change management reduces the chance of risky updates. Monitoring may reveal unusual activity. Backups may help recover from accidental damage. This is not about expecting people to be careless. It is about designing security in a way that accepts that people are human and systems are complex. You should also understand that defense in depth does not mean adding random controls until the environment becomes painful to use. More layers can help, but only when the layers have a clear purpose. Too many poorly planned controls can create confusion, slow people down, produce too many alerts, or encourage shortcuts. Good layering is thoughtful. One control may reduce the chance of an attack. Another may detect suspicious activity. Another may limit movement. Another may support recovery. The layers should work together instead of creating noise. For example, MFA, least privilege, logging, and access reviews fit together well because they all support safer identity and access management. Each layer answers a different question about who is entering, what they can do, and whether their activity makes sense. As you study, Try to connect each control to the role it plays in the larger defense. MFA helps protect sign-ins. Endpoint protection helps guard devices. Segmentation helps limit movement. Monitoring helps reveal suspicious behavior. Backups help restore operations when something goes wrong. Policies and procedures help people act consistently instead of improvising during stressful moments. Training helps you and others notice risks earlier. None of these layers is perfect by itself. That is the point. Defense in depth becomes easier to remember when you stop thinking of controls as isolated vocabulary words and start thinking of them as parts of a safety net. Some parts try to stop the fall. Some parts notice the fall. Some parts reduce the injury. Some parts help you get back up. The conclusion is that defense in depth gives you a practical way to think about security from the very beginning. You do not have to believe in one perfect control, one perfect tool, or one perfect user decision. Instead, you build protection in layers across people, process, and technology. MFA, endpoint protection, segmentation, monitoring, and backups all show how different controls can support each other. One layer may prevent a problem, another may detect it, another may limit the damage, and another may help recovery. When you see a security scenario on the exam, ask yourself what layers are already present and what layer is missing. That question will help you think more clearly. Strong security is not built on one thing never failing. It is built so that one failure does not sink everything.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.